large portion of fast fashion is damaged, is of low quality, just completely unsellable. Sometimes you just cannot mend it. Hi, it's been a while. I've been wanting to shoot a video since long, but I just haven't had the time. And I also felt like embroidering tonight, so I thought that why not multitask a little? Maybe embroidering cats, by the way. So, while doing this, I will of course talk about fast fashion as always, but today I will specifically be informing you about the waste that it generates. Once you start looking at the numbers, it just becomes hard to ignore. The fashion industry roughly produces 100 billion, more than 100 billion garments actually every single year. And the fact that this is being normalized is just problematic. Fast fashion companies do not produce that much just because they care about more designs or art. The entire business model is based on producing huge volume of clothes, and the entire business model is based on producing huge volume of clothes very quickly at the cheapest rates. The more they produce, the more they sell. Then faster the trends move, faster people come back. So this system is only and only rewarding constant production, not durability, not longevity, and definitely not sustainability. And when you look at it like that, it becomes clear that environmental impact was never really their priority. Because if it was, the industry would simply not move this way. You wouldn't see millions of tons of clothing in landfills every year. You wouldn't see clothes being designed to just wear for a handful of times. Every piece of clothing represents resources: water, energy, labor, transport. And when clothing becomes waste after such a short period of time, all of those resources are wasted as well. And the system keeps going back to it because for them it works financially. And the part that a lot of people are not aware with is that you don't always see where your clothes go after you're done with them. After somebody's mindset is that, oh, I'll just wear it twice and thrice and then I'll throw it away. A lot of fashion waste does not stay in the country where you've bought your clothes from. Huge amounts of discarded clothing from richer countries go to developing or underdeveloped countries like Ghana, Chile, and even India and other parts of Southeast Asia. If you search these landfills in Chile, there are literally mountains of discarded clothing. In Ghana, markets are flooded with second-hand clothes. Thing is, not all of them can be resold. Large portion of fast fashion is damaged, is of low quality, just completely unsellable. Sometimes you just cannot mend it. I mean, I run a thrift store, and also it's also an upcycling initiative, and sometimes I do receive clothes from Shein or Zara in my consignments, and the material is so cheap and it's full of polyester, and sometimes it's just not mendable at all these types of batches of clothes, they just end up in the landfills or the waterways or the beaches. And when we talk about fast fashion waste, we also have to talk about the people who are being affected because of it. People who are caught in the middle of the system. Millions and millions of garment workers produce these fast fashion companies' clothes under lots and lots of pressure, and they have to work for long hours. They don't even get the minimum wage, or tight production deadlines. All of this just to keep up with the demand of cheap clothing, with the demand of trends moving so fast, with the demand of keeping up with the social media. or not having FOMO. And because of all of this, the other parts of this world, which probably do not care so much about trends because they have other things to focus on, they have to deal with the aftermath of these production companies. People living near textile dumps have to deal with contaminated water, polluted air, especially all the microplastics, because almost 90% of that clothing is polyester. Both the environmental cost and human cost, they're just pushed onto the vulnerable groups of the world. The scale of the problem comes from how the industry operates. What really needs to change is the system that encourages this massive production and exploitation of people for their own benefits. Brands can produce fewer garments, brands can use better materials. Like, if you cannot afford fully organic materials, you can go for some semi-synthetic blends, go for longer product lifespan. But they won't do this because it would affect their scalability, their financial sustainability. But maybe they can take more accountability for what they've sold, or at least be transparent about it, or at least try to make small changes. And as consumers, we have this small power of changing and choosing to step out of those trend cycles, or the feeling, the FOMO that we get just by scrolling Instagram. Fashion is not the problem here, because fashion is what? Fashion is culture, fashion is creativity, fashion is expression, fashion is freedom. The problem is when fashion is being produced just to be discarded in a month or so. Like, just so quickly, so easily. As fashion enthusiasts, I don't think we want fashion to die like that. And this cycle is just going to destroy the value of fashion in near future. And maybe by just slowing down, we also as consumers can make a huge change.